Hello everyone, and welcome to our math lesson for today. You are going to need your math notebook that you've been doing our warm-ups in. You're going to need a pencil, and you'll need your math journal today. So 3 things: notebook, pencil, and journal. Go get those things if you don't have them already. All right, today in our math lesson, we are going to do a math warm-up. Then we will have a lesson about shapes. And last, we will do a page of math boxes together. All right, let's get started. For our math warm-up today, you're probably going to want the number grid that's in the back of your math journal. I'm going to be asking you to write down numbers and then write down the number that is 10 more than that number. A number grid will really help you do that. Open up that math journal to the last page so that you can see the number grid, and then open up your notebook to the next clean page. And we are going to label our math warm-up today. So the label that we're all going to put on the top is going to say 10 more. See how I just labeled the whole page? So if I asked you, what is 10 more than 30? Here's what you'll write. You're going to write the number 30, and then I asked you to tell what is 10 more than 30. So you're going to put an arrow there to show that we are showing numbers that are 10 more than the numbers on our page. So 30 with an arrow, and then after the arrow, please write the number that is 10 more than 30. That number would be 40, right? Okay. The next one is 67. I'm going to have you find the answer to this one. Write the number 67, draw an arrow. Tell what number is 10 more than 67. The next one is 94. Tell what number is 10 more than 94, right there in your notebook. Okay, turn to the next clean page. Or if you want, you can do it on the bottom of this page. Actually, I just realized I have extra room on the bottom of my page, so I will do it on the bottom, and you can too. If you don't have enough room, then go ahead and turn to the next clean page. We're gonna write 10 less down here at the bottom. So if I wrote the number 30, what would be 10 less than 30? We'll write 30 and then an arrow. Write the number that is 10 less than 30. Okay, what about 67? Ooh, I see a pattern here. These are the same numbers we used up at the top. What is 10 less than 67? The last one is 94. Write the number 94 with an arrow. Tell what is 10 less than 94. All right, you are still going to need your math notebook for the next activity that we're gonna do, so leave it out, and in fact, you can turn to the next clean page so that you are ready to go when we get to that time. Okay, I said that our lesson today was going to be about shapes. Now, I bet you know the names of all the shapes. Like, what do we call this? It's a square, right? What do we call this one? Ooh, maybe we have to count the sides first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What is a 6-sided shape called? A hexagon. You got it. How about this one? It's a circle. Great. We're not interested in the names of the shapes today. We're actually interested in shape attributes. Now that's a big fancy word. I have it written here on my whiteboard. The word attributes means traits or something about that shape. People actually have attributes too. One of my attributes is that I have long brown hair. One of my attributes is that I have green eyes. If we were in the classroom right now and I said, everyone with long hair stand up and everyone with short hair sit down, that would be a way that we could sort our class by attributes, right? An attribute could be long hair or short hair, and I sorted you by telling you to stand up or sit down. Maybe if we were in our classroom, some of you would be wearing blue shirts and some of you would be wearing maroon shirts because those are our uniform colors. A way we could sort the class would be to say, everyone with a blue shirt, go on that side of the room, and everyone with a maroon shirt, go on that side of the room. That would be an attribute about you, depending on which color shirt you were wearing, and we could sort the class by telling you which side of the room to go on. Shapes have attributes too. For instance, this shape is a square, that's its name, but it's also yellow. That's one of its attributes. It also has 4 sides. That's one of its attributes. It has 4 corners. That's one of its attributes. This shape, the square that I have, is thicker than this other yellow square that I have. And I hope you can see this over the video, but the 2 shapes are different thicknesses. It's the same shape, the same color, but one of their different attributes is that they're different thicknesses. If I have these 2 shapes, they're both hexagons because they have 6 sides. Another one of their attributes is their color. So this shape is yellow, this shape is red. They're also different thicknesses, just like we did with the squares. The thicknesses are different. They are the same size, so in that respect, they have the same attribute, these 2 shapes. These 2 squares have different attributes because they're different colors and they're different sizes, but they both have 4 corners, they both have 4 sides, they both have the same name. Attributes can be the same about shapes or they can be different. But when we name attributes, we're naming things that we know about that shape. So today in your notebook, I'm going to ask you to find a shape in your house and write down some of the attributes about that shape. Now, I have a clock in my kitchen here. It's gigantic. And maybe you've noticed in some of my videos that this clock doesn't actually run. It is broken and it hasn't, the hands haven't moved in a few years, but right now it's more of a decorative piece than anything. But the shape of that clock is a circle. I'm gonna draw that shape here on my notebook. And I'm just gonna tell what it is. So I'll show this to you here. I don't have to draw all of the details of the clock. I'm really just interested in what the shape is. But now that I have the shape, which is the circle, and I wrote what the thing is, I just wrote that it's a clock, just so that in the future I know that when I look at this, I'm showing the shape of that clock. Next to that, I'm gonna write some of the attributes that I know about that clock. First of all, I know that that clock is a circle, right? So that's one of the attributes. If I look at the color, I would say that it's mostly brown. So I'll put that as one of its attributes. Then I can think about size. Is that clock big or small? Well, I would say it's quite a bit bigger than most clocks that I've ever seen. So I would say big or large. So that could be one of its attributes. Now again, I'm not really interested in the actual clock that's on the wall. I'm interested in the shape of that object, and I'm interested in telling things that I know about that shape. So I'm not going to say that it has hands, which are the things that move around, or in this case, they don't move around in that clock. And I'm not going to say that there's numbers on it. I'm not going to say that it has different shades of white or brown or yellow or anything. I'm really just interested in that basic information that tells what the object is, the shape, the color, and the size. As another example, I'll do maybe this big white door behind me. So I would draw a rectangle. I'm going to write the word door on it, just so that in the future I know what I'm talking about when I look back at this. And then next to that, I'm going to write down some things that I know about that door. What's the shape of that door? What color is that door? Is it big or small? I can tell right here next to that picture that I drew of my door that it's a rectangle, it's white, and it's a pretty big object, right? So I'm going to ask you to come up with at least 3 examples of shapes in your house. Maybe pause the video, take a moment to walk around your house and just draw the basic shapes that you see and tell some things that you know. That means you're telling attributes about the shapes that you find. Come back and meet me back here when you have done 3 shapes from your house. All right, I hope you found at least 3 shapes in your house that you can use in your math notebook. Now, if we were all together and we were all comparing the shapes that we found, we could all say that our shapes are similar in some ways and they're different in other ways. Like a lot of us may have found circles in our house. Your circle is the same as my circle because it's the same shape. It's just round, right? But your circle is probably different than my circle in a lot of ways too. It's probably a different color. It's probably a different size. Our shapes have attributes that are the same and they have attributes that are different. Maybe you found a rectangle in your house. Your rectangle is probably the same as my rectangle in that it has 4 sides. 2 of the sides are longer than the other 2 sides because that's what makes a rectangle, right? Our rectangles all have 4 corners, but your rectangle might not be white. It might not be as big as my rectangle. Our rectangles are, they have similar attributes, but they also have different attributes. That's one way we can sort shapes, is by their attributes, things that we know about the shapes. All right, let's move on to the last part of our lesson, which is going to be doing the math boxes together. So I'm going to have you open your math journal to page 143. This is the math boxes from the math boxes from lesson 7-4. So I'll read these to you, and then if you want to pause the video and answer the question and then start it up again, you can hear me read the next one. All right, number 1 says subtract. So you can use either counting up or counting back or thinking addition to solve all 4 of these subtraction problems. Number 2 says, use your number grid. Remember that number grid is in the back of your book. Write less than, greater than, or equal to. So you're going to have to do some problem solving here. You have to figure out what is 3 plus 5 and answer that first. And then figure out what is 30 plus 50. And then figure out, is 3 plus 5 greater than, less than, or equal to 30 plus 50? Same thing here. You're going to have to figure out what is 30 plus 5, and then figure out what is 3 plus 50, and then put in the box greater than, less than, or equal to. I'll let you finish that one on your own. Number 3 says, find the sums. Use a number grid if you like. So on these, remember when we add two numbers together, we are finding the sum. We're finding the answer. The sum is the word for the answer. So if I'm adding 2 and 5 together, what is the sum? I'm going to write it over here. Now, they love to throw in these little unit boxes, right? And here they didn't actually show us what we were adding. Like, was it beads like yesterday, or is it teddy bears, or is it elephants? They don't tell us. So that's where I always tell you, just make up your own unit for this one, because they don't give you an object that you're actually counting. Number 4 says, Jess writes 8 stories about horses and 6 stories about people. How many stories does she write in all? So Jess writes 8 stories about horses and 6 stories about people. How many stories does she write in all? I'm going to put that here. And then it says number model. So when you added those two numbers together, what kind of number sentence could you write here? She's using 8 and 6. What would your number sentence be? You're going to write that on the line down here. Now, here it says unit, but they do give us a unit. They're telling us in the story problem that she's writing stories. So stories is our unit. Since they do tell us what the unit is, you have to write the word stories here in the unit box. This number 5 says, Stan and Ian each swim 4 laps. Cassidy swims 5 laps. How many laps do they swim in all? Oh wow, it even gives you the number sentence. It's telling us that there are 2 kids, Stan and Ian, who each swim 4 laps. So that's 4 for Stan and 4 for Ian. But then Cassidy is another person. She's going to swim 5 laps. So we're adding 4 plus 4 plus 5. Write the answer here. And then it says unit. Again, they do tell us the unit in this story problem. So we have to use the unit that they give us. The unit was laps. What are they swimming? They're swimming laps. So you have to write the word laps here in the box. Remember, they give you the word in the problem, so I expect you to spell it correctly too. All right, number 6 says subtract. 4 minus 2 equals what? What addition fact can you use to solve 4 minus 2? So they're asking us to think addition for this problem here. Okay, if I know that my subtraction problem is 4 minus 2, then I'm going to take the 4 and turn it into the sum of my addition problem. So let me write it down here. We know that in a fact family, if I were using 4 minus 2 as one of the facts in my fact family, the biggest number in the subtraction problem is also going to be the sum in the addition problem. So I'll use something plus something equals 4. And then I have to tell what these two smaller numbers were that I'm gonna add up to get to 4. So they said 4 minus 2. So I know one of my numbers is going to be 2. They're asking what addition fact can you use to solve 4 minus 2? Well, here it is. 2 plus something equals 4. Now, I bet you know the answer right away, especially because you know your doubles, so you can answer this very quickly. We used think addition just then to solve a subtraction problem. That's what they were trying to get you to do, is to write the addition fact down here on this line. All right, after you finished page 143, you are done with the math lesson for today, and I will see you tomorrow.